Hello, my crafty friends. Well, I've got my signatures in the journal, and I sewed a bunch of stuff to them. I have to admit, at this point, I'm a lot happier with the cover than I am with what's inside. But I'm hoping as I go through and go on to some more steps that I'll like it better in there. Um, I had made 3 signatures with 19 um, pieces of paper in each signature. And by the time I sewed some stuff on them, that was way too much to put in here. So I took out about 17 of those papers, 18 of them actually. And so I almost took out one whole signature, but I still have it divided into 3 signatures. And you can see what it's doing already. So it's going to be a puffy book, but that's okay. And I sewed them in, and I used the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And I've got this down here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may braid it and just leave it, or I may put some beads on it. I don't know, but for right now, I'm just leaving it like that. I'm going to just kind of flip through it real quick and show you kind of what I've done on it. And then I'm going to try using inks and some paint and stuff like that, and work another step through the book of trying to make it look like something besides gessoed paper. And then we'll come back and look through it again. But on this one, this piece of paper had come apart. So I broke it in half, and I was using the other half of it on a page, the top with the woman's face. And then I saw this and I thought, well, that's cute. That's a pocket. Who knows what I might do here to make the rest of the person. So I just thought that was fun. And so I sewed that on there. And then I sewed a little tuck spot on here. But I made sure I did it where I could still use this pocket. And the next thing I did was sew this deli paper all the way around onto the back of this paper, because they're both fairly thin. And so I decided this way I could just use them as if it's one piece of paper. And this got all crooked while I was sewing it. But on this wallpaper, I just sewed a little tuck spot there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these things. I was just playing and practicing sewing stuff in, because I've never done that before. This is the first journal I've ever sewn in. So I just took all kinds of stuff. This is part of a purse that I took apart. And I just thought it was pretty, so I sewed it right there. And this was a strap off of something. And I thought I could stick a pencil in there. Don't know if I will, but that was what I was thinking when I sewed it on here. And this is a bag, and I just have it, well, it's hard to see when I do it like that. It's a pocket back there and then a pocket here. And I just kind of tore this, and I think I'll ink around the edges there so that'll show up. But I thought this way you could stick something in here or something back here. And then I just sewed some denim on there, kind of made it pucker a little bit. And this was my favorite. This is my favorite one. I just took some part of a lace sleeve, and I just pleated it right on there. And I just think I think that's beautiful. I wish I had enough different kinds of lacy things that I could just do that on all the pages and forget about everything else. And here's another one of those pages where I just sewed the jelly plate to the back of this blueprint. And this is the center of my signatures. And so I just sewed a card that's blank on the inside so I could have a journaling spot and a tuck spot there. And then there's the other side of that. And this, I just made a tab and a little, and I've got strings everywhere because I didn't know if I wanted to leave them or not. You can always take them off later, but you can't put them back. So I just left them. And just a piece of fabric there. And then I sewed some lacy stuff on the edge of this envelope. And then on this side, I just glued it on because I didn't want to have 2 streams of sewing running on this side. And here's another card. I just sewed it like this so it could be written in, but it could still be a tuck spot. And here's another tab with a tuck spot behind it. And I did this kind of the same way. I put a tab right up here, and then down here I just put some fabric. I don't know why, but somehow I want to incorporate it in whatever I do on that page. And this is a this was a tag off of a piece of fabric. I think it was upholstery fabric, and I just sewed that on there. Let me get a little closer. There we go. I just sewed that in there, but you know, made sure it wouldn't mess up the envelope, but also makes a tuck spot. And then I really like this one too. This is just some organza, and I just kind of pleated it in there as I went, and so it's just fun and pretty. And I just thought that looked delicate on this watercolor paper. I probably won't do anything else to that page. I'm just going to leave it like this and try to do something over here that will complement it. This is another one of my daughter's watercolor papers that she wasn't happy with. So I stuck it in here, and I just put some orange lace because there's some orange in here, and I thought it would complement that. This is a piece of music paper, and I sewed this like a tuck spot of leather off of a leather bag, but this paper was so brittle it just broke straight through. So I used this fabric ribbon and glue. Actually it's tape, but it's fabric. And I put that down here to keep that in place. And then I also put some in here because this was trying to rip so that I could sew it in. And on this one, I did my jelly print where there's a short tuck spot here and then a long pocket back there. And I just made some little tabs there. And this is a ribbon I got off of a shirt or something. And I just sewed it in here. Like I said, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never done this before, so I'm just playing. But I'm definitely going to have to come back and play some more. Now, when I did that, I didn't realize it, but I had the paper folded. So I sewed it. So I sewed my paper shut. So I just tore it right here. And when we get to the other side, you'll see it's short on the other side, but I didn't figure that mattered. And this was part of an envelope. And this envelope was an envelope that I got in when we did our traveling journals. And this was one of the envelopes that Kendra Collins sent. She sent, every time she sent me a journal, she sent it in one of these envelopes. And so I put that on there. And that was a cool way to use an envelope and make a tuck spot on both sides. And then I just stuck some of these in there. And on this one, I sewed it into this corner of this envelope because I was making this. This is a, I did that so I could cut along this and make it a pocket if I wanted to. I don't know if I will or not. We'll wait and see on that. But I thought that's a tuck spot, or I could glue it down and just do art around it. One of the things that I left myself open to do a lot of stuff by just sewing it in rather than gluing it, and then I can glue later if I want to. And this is just some little squares of fabric and a little bit of organza that I glued them in there with. Sewed them in there with. It's one of my versions of illuminated borders. And here's another one. This is some denim, and you can see I took some tucks and then straight, and then some tucks and then straight, just because that's all the denim I had, and I wanted it to go all the way to the bottom, but I wanted some tucks in it, so I just played with it. And here's another piece of that orange yarn, ribbon or lace. And then there's the rest of that envelope, and I didn't do anything to it. And here's another, this actually was the same envelope. I've still got 2 or 3 more of these envelopes I can play with, but I just used the top portion of it and made tuck spots here out of the same envelope that I used back there. So, oh, and here's the side that's short now because I had to tear it. And you'll see this page, it's in there crooked. Yeah, that's what happens when you're trying to force your needle through these papers. And there's just another little tab, and here's the back of that. And on this envelope, this time I just sewed this tag in here, and I let it be a tab and a tuck spot. And here's some more tape on the other part of that page. And here's the rest of the lady. She's got some of this watercolor on her. I didn't realize that would happen. She's getting colorized just sitting there. She looks pretty miffed, doesn't she? Anyway, I thought she was funny, so I put her in. Oh, and I sewed her so that she can be a pocket. And on this piece, I had to put some tape because it was coming apart. So I just used some masking tape. And then this is another one of the cards that I just sewed the card in so I'd have a place to write. And here's another one I made pockets with. These pockets both go all the way down though. And this is a piece of wallpaper border. I just thought that was cute, so I stuck it in there. And this is just a piece out of a notepad. It says, "The whole earth is full of his glory," Isaiah 6:3. And here's another pocket that I made. And this one I just glued in. And then I glued that fabric on it. And here's another pocket I made. And it's a double pocket. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can. But I just folded it under, and then so it's a double pocket. And I sewed it in. And then this is some lace. This is off of the sheet, actually, that I made. I cut this off before I dyed my sheet to make my fabric journal. So this is off of that same sheet, and I just kind of made a little tuck spot there. Don't know if I'll ever use those tuck spots, but I think they're cool. And this paper was falling apart too, so I put some denim on one side, and this other fabric on the other side, and it's tearing right here. I need to do something. With that. That'll have to be done quickly. I just thought this little guy was cute, wanting so badly to get into those muffins. Oh, and you see a mouse? There's a little mouse right there. And here I made pockets out of the other 2 pages from this, where it had broken apart, because it was, 2 pages. And I sewed one down here, and then I sewed this one right here. So there's 2 pockets. You can see on this side where I sewed the bottom of each of those pockets. And this was something my son drew when he was about 7. It was a submarine, and he didn't want the drawing anymore, so I stuck it in here and just sewed it in, made it into a flip. And this is the other side of that. And here I just sewed in a library pocket, and so it can be a tuck spot or a pocket. And I just sewed some more of that paper up here. And this is one of those that might get glued down and made into a collage. I don't know. But it was fun to sew it in. And I enjoyed the playing with sewing stuff in. Like I said, I've never done that before, but that was fun. But I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff in here in order to make me really happy with what's inside. I'll have to be honest with you, though. Going through it now and looking at it again after having it sit around a day or two, I'm happier with it now than I was when I first sewed it in. And I like all the different textures, on this the side here. So it's a work in progress, and I'll go through another step where I use inks and sprays and stuff like that. And I don't know how many steps it's going to take me to call it finished, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. This is the December challenge that LorriMarie Jenkins set out. And I'll link the playlist to my other videos about this book below this one. And in those videos, I have her challenge linked, so you can go to that and see what her challenge was and the book that she made. Where this one was inspired by the book that she made. So God bless you all, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.